Hi, Uprisers. It is Trisha LaCroix once again with Sacred Uprising Institute. And today we are talking with Bliss, and she is continuing her series on the Conscious Evolver. And today's series is about divine inspiration. Sacred Uprising, this is a platform for your spirit and your life transformation. This is a consciousness of oneness from beginners to masters to beginners again. And while I wait for Bliss to come on board, I need to take a moment and share this video on some of our other platforms. So fortunately, next week we do have a production assistant who is our administrative assistant that will be able to do this, and you won't have to see me go through this ritual anymore. So that will be great. So just give me 1 second, and I'm adding Bliss, and then we can get going. So I do have a few announcements to make. One more second while I do this. Okay. All right. So I have some exciting announcements to make. We are very excited to announce that we are having our conference September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It will be at Mount Madonna in Northern California. Go check it out. You can look at it, mountmadonna.org. We are going to be having some things put on the website, which is still under construction. Hey, Bliss. Yay, we're doing it. So we have one of our teachers, Christopher Lee. He's an amazing graphic artist, and he's working with us on our website. And here within shortly, I'm not going to put him on I need to talk to him about the time frame, but here shortly we're going to have an area on the website so you can go ahead and start signing up for our Sacred Uprising Conference. And I know all of us teachers were so excited about it. We've been waiting for this, Bliss, for how long? For like a year, right?
This has been a dream of ours. Yeah. I mean, for so long now, Trish. And when I found out, it was such a nice surprise when how you shared the location.
Yeah.
It just had such a beautiful impact on my soul. It's going to be amazing.
The vibration of it is so clear. So it's a meditation center. So you go there, and the clarity there, and there's so many different other activities to do. So we'll have a big part of the venue. Many times, especially on the weekends, they have other conferences and other meditation groups that are there, but we're in the middle of the week. So we actually get the biggest room, but they have a lake to swim in. There's outdoor activities. We have my wonderful man, Charles. We have gotten a spiritual singing, I won't say singing, but they do spiritual acoustics, and it's for spiritual consciousness. So we have all these different fantastic, amazing, exciting, radically crazy, opportunities that are going to be there for everybody. And quite frankly, the cost is it is so reasonable. It was out of California. I thought it was going to be triple the amount. In some places that I had gone to, it was really expensive, but I tried to keep everybody's budgets and honor that and make sure that this can be something that if you really want to come, everybody can be there. So, and you get to meet all of us, and it includes your lodging, includes the meals. The only other expectations that you would have to consider is the flight to California, and you would fly into San Jose, and then it's about an hour drive to the Santa Cruz area. So we're really, really excited. We also have some other excitement that is going on. Once again, Charles he's at NAB, that's the National Association of Broadcasters, this week, and he was in the Facebook area where they have some very interactive applications for the live videos. So we will be able to do graphics with it. We'll be able to send people to groups if you want to do challenges. There's going to be all these really cool things. So I'm actually going to be going there this afternoon after all the videos are done, but he's already talked to many of the people, and he's very supportive of this, and we want to make sure that these are even better than what they're doing and more professional, and we can add a lot more fun to it. So we have that going on. And then quickly, we have two other videos today at noon Pacific Standard Time. Terry, our energy healer, will be on, and she will be doing anger, the emotion that nobody wants to talk about. So stay tuned for that. And then we have Lisa, Dr. Lisa, at 1 o'clock. And once again, she is going to be doing another video in her series called The Sacred Altar. But in the meantime, we have Bliss, and I'm very excited, Bliss. We are going to be talking about divine inspiration in your series. So I will let this go for it. I can't wait to hear this one.
Thank you. Well, the great news is that as a collective, and especially for everyone that has watched last week and been following the series, is that last week we flowed into one of the stages. And so I decided to offer a bit of a challenge to anyone, the first person who can say what stage we were in last week of the Conscious Evolver.
Ooh.
I'd like send you a free copy of the digital workbook of the Conscious Evolver. So I'll look for that in the comments.
Yeah, that's a great one.
For anybody, and Perry Booth, you're not allowed to say it because you know it so well.
Hi, Tiff. Hey, Perry. It's good to see you both here.
Yeah, I mean, so many beautiful souls with us right now. Thank you so much. So just to give a recap of what the Conscious Evolver is, it's an 8-step system that was transmitted to me and I developed in 2012 and then integrated into my life to such a degree that I've been able to share it through coaching and then even accelerate it through the initiate circles that I run. And yet the original blueprint for the Conscious Evolver is designed in such a way with simplicity that is entirely meant to assist with self-direction. And that is to self-direct your own conscious evolution through the aspects of your life that are wishing to be improved or upgraded or healed. And so just wondering if we've got anybody who knows it yet?
Not yet.
No. Not yet? Okay. Perry says, darn it. So yeah, so really what's happening is that we all recognize that we've come down here, that we're these beautiful, powerful spiritual beings that put on this, some people call it a skin suit. We have these beautiful vessels and that we're here and it's almost like a source playground or source training ground. And we come here and we learn how to love as purely as possible. And we learn how to accept ourselves, all the different aspects of ourselves, to the highest degree and for the highest good of all. And yet there's these things that happen to us in our life that are purposely put on our path that will enable us to grow and learn to the best of our ability. And so a lot of these lessons that we have come here to learn, I've identified them into 5 categories. And so I think the first category that is probably the most profound for, the multitudes of us while we're here in this existence is our connection to God, source, spirit, however you want to define it. The next one is our ability to love and be loved. The next one is our career, our passion, or our service, however you'd like to share what it is that you love to do. The fourth one is lifestyle, how you treat your vessel, the hobbies you have, how you stimulate your mind. And then the fifth one is the challenges that just come in, and sometimes they're just so hard to define that it's just easier to go, okay, there's a challenge coming in. And the beauty is as soon as we recognize that there's an aspect of our life that's wishing to be evolved, the first thing we want to do is go to the Conscious Evolver. Because what the beauty of the Conscious Evolver is that there's 8 very clear steps. And what happens is these steps have been running through your life, your whole life, and we just didn't even know it. But now, because it got transmitted down into this reality, we have these very clear 8 steps. So the first one is usually the identifier that there's an aspect of our life that is ready to be evolved. And that's when we know we're in cup full. And so cup full means that this is my cup and I'm up to here. I am full. And usually we can tell that that something needs to be improved or upgraded because we're feeling stressed, unhappy, excuse me, or sometimes we're in cup full for so long that being stressed or unhappy feels like our most familiar. It's what we've become accustomed to. And even though we're not happy, we settle into that complacency. So once we recognize that we are in cupful, we want to consciously evolve this aspect of our life, and we move into decompression. So decompression is taking that big exhale. It's stepping away from the drama. It's going outside. It's really an act of self-love, of subversive act of self-love.
Say that really fast 5 times.
Right? And it can be 3 minutes or it can be 3 months, but it's that real choice to honor self and to identify that there's something going on and that I love myself so much that I'm willing to walk myself through these steps. Then we go into deconstruction, where we peel away all the layers, what he said, she said, what the drama is, what the layers of identity, all of these perceptions of the ego that really keep us really small and in hiding. And so we start to deconstruct all those layers. And then we find ourselves into emptiness and void, which was the key for the challenge, which is okay. Yeah, it's great. I'll do it again next week. So maybe somebody will be watching this next week. And in emptiness and void, once we've released all of these layers, we find ourselves, it's almost, the best analogy that I've come up with is it feels like we're sitting on a narrow fence and we have been laid bare. So we're really in, and like we feel emptiness and we've created void around us. And in the past, perhaps we would have fallen off into one side and gotten lost in our fears and depression and sadness, and then inevitably found ourselves back in cup full. Or we could fall into the other side, which is like the bypassing and not addressing the aspect that needs to be evolved. And then inevitably we find ourselves back in cup full. So what we want to do in emptiness and void is at first it can feel quite uncomfortable, but we really just, it's almost like that space in meditation. We just want to sit in that beautiful narrow fence and just really hold our soul, hold our heart, hold our human vessel with just so much love and respect. And that is a true state of grace. Trish, you really liked when I said last week, the seemingly effortless stillness, the grace of stillness.
The grace of stillness.
And
I
so,
still love that. Just the vibration when you say it, you can feel it within you. And I got to tell you, last week I was in my cup full. I called you, I talked to you, or we talked about it. And I was put in a position where I had no choice but to decompress, right? But it was more, I was going out of town. And part of I had a fear of going out of town. I didn't want to go into that decompression. But I also was very aware of the steps that you've taken us through and that it was the best thing for me.
Great. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And then when you were in that state of decompression, you removed yourself from the stress, and then you were able to peel away the layers. Okay, what's really going on here? What's really happening? What's the message? And then you come into the emptiness and void. So I have, with purpose since last week, very consciously been holding myself in cup full. And at first it felt uncomfortable, or sorry, not cup full, emptiness and void. And at first it felt uncomfortable because it really is a real space of neutrality. Not allowing myself to feel the highs, not allowing myself to go into the deep lows, and really just compacting all of that energy into that neutral space and just staying in my heart space. And so the beauty of this system is that once you can maintain that frequency of emptiness and void, what we know what is coming next, and it's divine inspiration.
Right. Well,
and so what a week we're going to have now coming up in knowing that divine inspiration is available to us as a collective right now. So the mantra, or sorry, not the mantra, but sort of the the key words for knowing that we're coming into divine inspiration is I am open and receptive. So I've been laid bare and now I'm open and receptive to divine inspiration. And what a beautiful, beautiful
Beautiful.
space to be in. And so the analogy that comes with divine inspiration is the lotus. And so I'm sure everybody knows about the lotus, but in emptiness and void, it's like that unbearable space of being in the mud, and yet we're holding it with such grace.
Mm.
And then divine inspiration is the reemergence, as the lotus comes up into the light and it opens up its petals. And so again, it's that like that uncomfortability of knowing that this is only temporary. Emptiness and void is only temporary, and then we get to re-emerge. So I actually love the word emergency. I just had a cupful experience a few weeks ago, and everywhere I looked, I kept seeing this word emergency, but all I could see was emergence.
Mm.
And it's just amazing how we will create these beautiful opportunities for ourselves so that we can work through the mucky, work through the dense, and work through the dark fears and emotions, and then have our emergence.
Oh,
Sorry.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So what happened with emptiness and void was that we created space. We addressed all those energies, all those emotions. We addressed the maybe childhood traumas and dramas, and all of that energy that sits within our physical body and in our mindset, and we address it and we heal it. And then what happens is we give it the love, and then it begins to rise again. And then that is the space that we have liberated, and we've released all the heavy and the dense. And then what happens is we have created this space for divine inspiration now to be able to flow through us. And it flows through in many beautiful ways. It flows through our subconscious. It flows through our own through our crown chakras into our own selves, and it also can flow through to our immediate reality. And so for me, obviously, I love divine inspiration, and Trish, every single time that you and I connect,
Yes.
divine inspiration, you are an epic conduit of divine inspiration, and so. I think of how many times Trish and I have been in conversation, and maybe could you just can you just describe what it feels like for you when your guides come in?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, so my guides are always around me, talking to me, and it's also it's really fun when they start talking to like Charles, that we'll be here, we'll both be hearing them. But when they start coming in, it's sort of like I don't have any control. I can literally be thinking something else in my head and something completely different is coming out of my mouth. But it is a rush. It's like a knowing. It's a knowing. Sometimes I can hear the very exact words. Many times I try to describe when I'm hearing what they're saying. A lot of times it's like reading Braille energetically. So I'm reading what they say, and it's like I have my fingers, I have the who I am, my light out there, and I'm reading what they say. But the last time it happened to me was yesterday, and it was an overwhelming feeling of this other person's of their guide, and this guide just had messages and it's downloads, and I don't have any control when it comes through. It's very pure. There is no human Trisha to filter it because it's just coming out of my mouth. And you and I, many times when you and I have conversations, even when we first started talking, and that's when I first started channeling around that time, is that things were just coming out of my mouth. And sometimes it sounds like poetry. Other times it's very commanding. It's all dependent on the of the personality or the energy of the guide that's coming through. But what it is, it's all aspects of the divine coming through in different energies. And you know, it's all the path to the divine. It all is. So when, if I'm talking to word, if word is coming to me, or Thoth, or Melchizedek, or Enoch, or Metatron, or Archangel Michael, it's all aspects of the divine, because the divine is whole with all of us. And so I'm just tapping into a certain aspect.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I don't search for it, it just comes. And if I try to search for it, then my filter will be crowded with my human Trisha. But if I don't have any expectations and it just comes, it's very pure.
So you just described the open and receptivity of divine inspiration.
Right. Okay, there we go.
So thank you.
Yeah, right.
So that's it exactly. So the thing is that once we've worked our way through consciously the steps, especially honoring each step with profundity, we've created a clean and clear, almost like a highway. Imagine, like, or you know, like a road, so that the divine inspiration can flow in without any distortion, without any distraction, and without me feeling like I need to force it to come through, or that there's something that I have to do to enable the divine inspiration to come in. And so what's beautiful is divine inspiration comes in some of the most beautiful ways, and so these are ways that I've experienced. Walking down the street and hearing a conversation, and in that conversation of the people walking by me, they literally answer or give me the wisdom that I've been seeking, or turning the car, like hearing that voice or intuitional hit to turn the car radio on, and there's a song playing, and the words in the song are the guidance that I was looking for. I've had books fall out of the shelf and land in my hands, or even going to a book and opening it up and just knowing that you're going to open it up and exactly what you need to read will be on that page. And the key is exactly what you said, Trish. It's like removing the human that wants to control, that wants to force something to happen, and just really allowing the flow to be the one that is giving you the divine inspiration. So one of the things that's key for me about the Conscious Evolver is that it's really about trusting your own innate wisdom every single step of the way. I really truly trust the personal power that is our birthright as human beings in this reality, and so really to know that even when you're doing the cards, like tarot cards or oracle cards or angel cards, that it's your own subconscious that is letting you or that is sending the information to you, the wisdom to you. And then there's always the times where it is a little bit too overwhelming for us, and then we need to go and seek out the professionals or the higher conscious thinkers, or the higher conscious workshops. And even in this moment, this conversation can be working as divine inspiration for somebody that's watching it now. So it really is like there's so much potential for us to have that aha moment, and for us to have that big revelation, and it can come in so many formats and so many beautiful ways.
Yeah, I'd like to challenge people to write on here, what are some ways you get divine inspirations? Share your knowledge and your wisdom on how you receive it, so other people can be aware that there are so many different ways. I get it through numerology, I get it through the clouds in the sky, I get it through music, I get it through people, that synchronicity. So when I hear things in threes, I know that that's something for me to pay attention to. I get, well, you know, it's easy for me to get it because my guides will come and like tell me, but I always like confirmation. So please comment in here on some of the ways you get it. Perry said it happens to him with music. Prima said she stood next to an angel. Yes, and that happens. And I had one of my first visions, it was through a meditation, was that there are thousands of angels for millions of angels for every one person. There are so many. So they're all around you. So do you tap into feeling that energy? Do you have those synchronicities through in nature? What is it that gives you those synchronicities, that gives you that divine inspiration to let you know that you're on the right path, or what path you need to go on, or how you're living your life? share that with us, because I'd like to hear it, because it might open doors for me to look for it in other ways too.
Amazing. Thank you, Trish. And I really look forward to reading those comments too.
Yeah.
And so then what we always want to do is really like just make sure that when we're working an aspect of our life through the conscious evolver, that we're really clear on what that aspect is. We really, and it's so funny because as we're writing, my divine inspiration is literally sending me a message. It's so beautiful. Thank you. So amazing. So we just really want to make sure of the aspect that we're consciously evolving through the conscious evolver. And then really be open to what divine inspiration wants to say to us specifically to that aspect. So some of the keywords that we'll experience in divine inspiration is receptivity, clarity, insight, activation, and rebirth. So we're really moving into, we're moving into spring up here in the Northern Hemisphere. So this is a really potent and beautiful time to be experiencing the rebirth of divine inspiration and the insight that comes along when we become that clean and clear channel and conduit to receive the divine inspiration. So we've been also sharing the chakras, right? Yes. And so with emptiness and void, we were really focused on the heart chakra. And as we transition into divine inspiration, it will move up now into the throat chakra.
Beautiful.
So
it's ironic that you were coughing so much as you were talking about it. Just want to say.
Oh, I know, right? I'm like, of all the times, but then of course, right? Like it's me doing a clearing and cleaning and pushing through some obviously like hesitations or fears, whatever it was that needed to come through. So the throat chakra is the color blue, and it's our ability to communicate and also to receive nurturance. And so I think it's really important to really tag into that receive nurturance, because it's that ability to say help and to ask for help and to use our voice. And so divine inspiration is perfect, because now we're literally saying, okay, divine inspiration, I am open, I am receptive. Please nurture me, shower me with your love and your intelligence with a capital I. And then we have our mantra, and the mantra is, the brilliant light of divine inspiration shines directly upon me.
Can you?
Isn't that so beautiful?
That is beautiful. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah. The brilliant light of divine inspiration shines directly upon me. And so we can literally visualize now the lotus petals, and they're just soaking up the sun, and the sun is just lovingly streaming down into the lotus petal.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow. You know, we didn't mention beforehand, but so let's mention it now. How do people get your workbook?
The workbook is a digital workbook available for $10 Canadian on my website, blissprema.com. And it's something that you can just print out. I've had people come for coaching sessions, and they've printed it out and highlighted it, and they've got all their little tabs on it. And it really does accelerate your living when you have a system that is so clear and simple. And what happens is we become proactive and we reclaim our power, rather than having all these things constantly happen to us and living a lifetime in cup full. Although we will go through the stages, sometimes it can take months or years, but as conscious evolvers, we really have the power to accelerate that process and take back the control, and then step into self-direction and self-leadership. And then our consciousness evolves and our awareness increases as we go through the process. So,
you know, I want to remind people that, you know, no matter where you are with your vibration or your spiritual journey, we all have to do our inner work. And there's many, many different tools that we offer here on Sacred Uprising, as well as that are just out there. Everybody, there's a tool for everybody. But it's our inner work that radically changes our lives. So you can hear what we're saying, but if you're not practicing it and working through it, it's while we can talk about it, it's not going to really change your life. It's like going to a seminar for cleaning your house, but if you don't go home and clean, it's worthless information. It's a lot of wisdom with no knowledge. So I would highly recommend, I mean, I have the workbook. I would highly recommend that you go and you take advantage of $10 is not a lot of money. Go and get the workbook and read it. And then before every week, when she's here doing this series, read it beforehand again, and you'll have a better understanding as she's talking about it. So I would highly recommend that. Bliss, you also do coaching. How do people get in contact with you? And tell us a little bit about your coaching as well.
Thanks, Trish. Yeah, so like I really love empowering people to self-direct and to really trust their own innate wisdom. And yet there are always times, and I mean, that's how many times have you and I reached out to each other, Trish, when sometimes it's just overwhelming. And sometimes I swear I wouldn't use this analogy anymore, but we can't see the forest for the trees because it's so in our face. Right. And so because I've integrated this system into my very being for the last 6 years, it is truly my honor and my pleasure to offer coaching sessions. So I offer 30 seconds.
Yes, you're good. You're very good.
Just like that. 30-minute soul to soul, and that's a real deep dive. It's super quick, and we can just go right to the heart of the aspect that needs to be evolved. Or a 60-minute conscious evolver coaching session where we have a little bit more time what we do is we'll travel into the past and we act like neural astronauts, and we'll literally just go into all of those spaces and places that are causing you pain and suffering, and really just identify those patterns and blocks that have been holding you back. And then we consciously love them, improve them, and heal them. And then I started my 3rd initiate circle at the beginning of this month. I have 20 initiates. Yeah, and so I'm definitely gonna put out some new dates in September for a September initiate circle as well, for those that'd like to join for that. And all of this information is available on my website, blissparma.com. And I just want to say a quick shout out to Deborah Buxton. Thank you for being here, and Rebecca, and Perry, and John, and Michael Fox, all these beautiful, beautiful souls. Jacquelina, thank you so much for being here with us.
And I want to say something. Michael Fox, he and his wife just came out with a new music CD. So I would highly recommend you go to, I just bought it. I would highly recommend that you go to his Facebook page and listen to some of the music. It's really divinely inspired, and I highly recommend that. But you had mentioned
divine inspiration.
What?
There you go.
Yeah,
right?
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to mention, since you brought up September, once again, we have the Sacred Uprising Conference, September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It'll be in Santa Cruz, California. And we will be giving some more information on how to be part of that conference and meet all the teachers, and we'll have call out sessions. We'll have some like stones, and you can get some astrology from Christy, and there's all different modalities that you can take part of. The other thing I want to mention is please, 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 please go to YouTube for Sacred Uprising and subscribe. So I was talking to some of my personal friends last night, and many of them have said, well, we're at work and we can't comment because if we get caught, we'll get in trouble. But some of them watch it afterwards. So if you want to be notified, please go there and subscribe. The other thing, you can go to Instagram, look for the pink peonies for Sacred Uprising. You can follow us there. And whoever follows us by next Friday, there will be one person that wins an energetic Reiki healing from Courtney Miller, who is our administrative assistant, but she's also my daughter. So, Bliss, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. And you are divine inspiration. I hope you know this. And it's wonderful that you can teach this, because you're teaching who you are. And I love that about you. I'm so proud that we have these wisdom keepers that live what they teach. And like what Lori said yesterday, we are spiritual scientists that are going through the process. We've proven it. We know it works, and it can work for anybody that wants to take part of it and have radical transformation in their life. So thank you so much, Bliss.
Thank you. Thank you. I love our time together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep watch for Friday. I believe Bliss will be on at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. She will be talking about Reiki, and she will also be a guest speaker on my Calling in the One series tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I can't wait for her to share what she has to share tomorrow. So love you guys. I will be back at noon with Terry. Anger, the emotion nobody wants to talk about. So great to see everybody, and I'll see you guys soon.